Many of us have wondered, who is Jack Schitt? Well, I'm going to tell you. Jack Schitt is the only son of Ah Schitt, who married O Schitt, owners of Knee Deep in Shit Incorporated. Jack Schitt married No Schitt. The couple had 6 children. Holy Shit, Give a Shit, Full of Shit, Bullshit. The twins, Deep Shit and Dip Shit. Deep Shit married Dumb Shit, a college dropout. After 15 years, Jack and No Schitt divorced. No Schitt married Ted Sherlock and became No Schitt Sherlock. So, the next time someone says you don't know Jack Schitt, you can say, yes, I do. Hey, if you like that, stick around. You'll get a lot more of that kind of stuff guaranteed to activate your funny bone and pull at your heartstrings.
Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer.
Hey, you found OK Boomer, a podcast that usually interviews people with interesting tales from their hobbies or vocations. However, and when I say we, I mean myself and my co-host, Jimmy Amadoufis, today will sport a regular feature we call Potpourri.
Boomer, I just call it potpourri.
Yes, you do, Jimmy. It's a regular feature we do every now and then that's a miscellaneous collection of literary gems I've pulled from Facebook and other sources. I'll give credit to the authors when possible. Some will make you laugh, smirk, or snort, while others will get you in the feels. If you don't care for one piece, you hang on and enjoy the next one. They're all relatively short.
Boomer, aren't you forgetting something?
Your novel, your book. Oh, yes. Before we get to our potpourri selections, let me share with you some exciting news. I'm just going to do it by reading a Facebook post I recently did. Look what I did. I wrote a novel. Yep, a real-life novel with words, sentences, paragraphs, everything. A work of fiction that has heated baseball action entwined with hotter romance. When I retired from teaching high school English, more than one well-wisher suggested that I go write the great American novel. Well, I had no intention of writing anything except maybe a check for a new home. Turns out, after the dust settled and discretionary time became more available, I joined some writing groups and an idea for a novel slowly grew. And now it's all grown up and available for you to enjoy. Let me give you the skinny in bullet points. Jimmy, will you help me out with this?
Oh, yeah, I got you. So, what's the title?
Trying for Home.
Author?
Me, but I use the pseudonym of Stark Wilson because it's cool and because it's the name I've already used for many of my audiobooks.
What's it about, Boomer?
An umpire working the plate in a high-stakes high school baseball game who struggles to keep his focus as developments in the game trigger memories of what has happened in his personal life that is filled with turmoil.
Who's gonna like it?
Hopefully, my listeners. I know my mom, she would have liked it because, she really liked me and came to watch me play baseball. Otherwise, it's a romance wrapped around an intense baseball game, so romance lovers, women and dudes who are secure about their manhood, along with baseball fans, are going to dig this book. People who are into funky baseball situations that require alert rule applications, they'll appreciate the diamond action.
What kind of format we got going here, Boom?
Currently, Jimmy, it's an ebook format with print and audio available soon.
Yeah, where can we get it?
Well, through February of 2026, it's available exclusively on Amazon, and after that, it'll be available worldwide.
Yeah, when?
Right now.
How much?
$4.99.
Yeah, how do I get mine?
Just go to Amazon Books, and we're in that search bar, just type in the title, Trying for Home. It'll come up with, again, my pseudonym, Stark Wilson.
Yeah, what else should I know, Boomer?
It has some spice. My wife says the ladies demand spice. So yeah, there's some ooh la la that will make some of you blush and say, oh my. And then you'll probably read that part over.
That sounds wonderful, Boomer. Let's give him some poopery for right now.
And potpourri it will be. Right now it's December 12th. We'll put this out here in just a few days, but it's well after the end of the baseball season, and people are cold and maybe jonesing for some baseball action. Well, let's start with some baseball trivia. For example, Babe Ruth set the all-time home run record 576 times.
I don't get it. How could he do that?
Well, whenever he said it the first time, he did it each time he hit another one. He set a new record. He did that 576 times. You can do the math, subtract it from 714, and figure out what that first all-time record was.
Okay, next one.
Well, during Rickey Henderson's MLB career, he spent more days as the all-time stolen base leader than he did as not the all-time stolen base leader.
Now, that's another head-scratcher.
Simply means, Jimmy, that he got to the all-time record quite quickly and then had a long career afterwards.
Move along.
Over the course of Willie Mays' career in the major leagues, Sandy Koufax was both a 12-year-old and a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. He achieved both of those milestones within the career of Willie Mays. Quite the career. If you took away Ted Williams' 521 home runs, he'd still have a higher career OPS, which would be .843, higher than Kirby Puckett, Eddie Murray, Rod Carew, Roberto Clemente, and Derek Jeter. That means the boy could hit. Plate appearances by Jimmy Fox, 9,677. Plate appearances by Jimmy Fox that ended with his career average at .325 or better, same, 9,677. He started at .325, never went lower. Pedro Martinez, he could have started Boston's final game in 2000, given up 47 straight home runs, probably a record, without recording an out, and still led the league in ERA and WHIP. Wow.
Okay, Boomer.
Well, weather is always on our mind in these winter months. So let's take a look at today's climate forecast, which is a poem by one of our regular featured authors, Brian Bilston. Jimmy?
Okay, today's climate forecast. And on to today's climate forecast, where we can expect to see a prolonged spell of inaction, interspersed with patches of hazy promises across many areas. Over Westminster and other centers of government, a buildup of hot air will cause inactivity to soar to record levels over the coming days, in spite of the high pressure. Elsewhere, a front of chronic misinformation will sweep in from the east, bringing with it a thick band of climate change deniers and the chance of scattered falsehoods, while powerful gusts of idiocy and ignorance look set to blow across social media. Outbreaks of, we just got on with it in 1976, and it's called the British summer, mate, are likely. In summary, unsettling.
Okay, Boomer.
Well, that's enough of that weather. We want some warm weather. Warm weather, there's going to be some baseball action, which is my weak intro into this next piece entitled My Father Watching Baseball by Joseph Fasano. I have a very vivid memory of my dad sitting in the backyard during the warmer weather, smoking a cigarette probably enjoying a beer, and listening to the Cardinals on a transistor radio. Here's My Father Watching Baseball by Joseph Fasano. What he doesn't say is he wanted this with all his life. The smell of grass, the crack of bat each morning, the whole world simplified to wonder. You have to understand, he had nothing. You have to understand, his father still carried a war in him, and my father had to carry it also. It was 1973 once. My father stood on the mound of Yankee Stadium. The men who had invited him were watching, and he leaned back and asked his life not to fail him. It didn't work out. As the cheap books say, a whole life selling tools and hope to strangers. A life will try to call its prison beauty every morning, every night of trial. But now he sits in the aching of his rocker and mutters "we" when he means a team of strangers, and calls me up to ask me if I saw it, and tells me of a game I have no stake in, and the green grass, and the trouble of his country, and the things men do to win the game they're playing, the double play, the bunt, the K, the homer, and his favorite play of all, the sacrifice.
Okay, Boomer.
A man dies and goes to heaven. He asks God, "God, who really killed JFK?" God replies, "It was Lee Harvey Oswald. He acted alone." The man pauses and then says, "Wow, this goes even deeper than I thought."
Okay, Boomer.
If you've listened to other episodes of our potpourri, you know that we like to read tweets from the Picayune Sentinel. It's a Substack publication by Eric Zorn. Google it. Look it up. You can get a free, you can have that delivered freely to your email, and it'll make you think, it'll provoke some emotional responses, and it'll make you laugh at a number of things, including his list of tweets that he always includes. And here are some of them right now. Before getting involved with someone, ask yourself, is this a person I can visualize cropping out of pictures one day?
Okay, Boomer.
The bleeding walls and voice saying, "Get out." Yeah, I can live with that, but the inadequate natural light in the breakfast nook, that's intolerable.
What does he think I am, an imbecile?
At my funeral, I want everyone to blame themselves and scream, "Why? Why?" and then fight each other to climb in the coffin with me.
Okay, Boomer.
Tony Danza, Tony Danza, Tony Danza. Yeah, that sounds like a description of a very fancy piece of antique furniture.
I'll knock your brains out of your head, Annie.
Me. Wouldn't the Kool-Aid man's glass body shatter before the brick wall busted apart? The guy next to me, seriously, literally every other urinal was open.
Okay, Boomer.
Those who don't learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Those who don't learn from trigonometry, they won't even notice.
A simple job for simple people.
I have more photos of my dog trying on his snow boots than my parents have of my entire childhood.
Okay, Boomer.
Here's a short poem by John Dryden, written apparently around 1700, entitled Happy the Man. Happy the man, and happy he alone, he who can call today his own. He who, secure within, can say, "Tomorrow, do thy worst, for I have lived today. Be fair or foul or rain or shine, the joys I have possessed, in spite of fate, are mine. Not heaven itself upon the past has power, but what has been, and I have had my hour." Have you had your hour?
Okay, Boomer.
Well, it won't be long. Not only will we have baseball going on, but we're going to be wondering about how we're going to get ourselves ready for spring, being able to fit into a swimsuit and all that stuff. Which brings to mind here this poem, again by Brian Bilston, about entitled, "Oh, do not ask if I am beach body ready. Do not ask if I am beach body ready." I mean, observe how the folds of my stomach ripple like the wind-pulled waves. Rub your hands over these pale buttocks, sand smooth by time. Note my milk-white limbs like washed-up whale bones, stranded and useless. Consider these tufts of hair on my back and shoulders, sprouting wildly like seagrass. And listen to the lapping of my socks at the shores of my sandals. And still you ask me if I am beach body ready.
Okay, Boomer.
Here are instructions for saving a soul. Again, by Joseph Fasano. Take it out in the rain sometimes. It has vast invisible wings that gather dirt and need rinsing. When it tries to kill you, that is because you've forgotten to let it look into someone's eyes for longer than a minute. It needs that, the way a bee needs nectar in the early morning dew. Every so often, take it on a journey. Let it read long, hard books, and let it stare into the depths of the sea. Yes, you can give it chips and whiskey, but from time to time, let it kneel in a place that is holy, like the simple cathedral of the Willows. All it wants is to live, to keep becoming. Nourish it, and it puts down roots. It opens. But starve it, and the mind, the flesh is empty. The world breaks down. Symphonies go unwritten. The rockets fall. The children die in flames. Listen, it is not too late to wake it. Say the names of the wild, the forgotten things. Bluebird, red wolf, robin, violet, child, clover. You cannot save the world, but you can open the window for the trapped wren in the cellar. Read a book to a blind man, to your father. Tell a child you do believe her anger. Make your life the first life that you save.
Okay, Boomer.
Wanted, someone to brush their teeth with me, because 9 out of 10 dentists say brushing alone will not prevent tooth decay. No weirdos, please.
Okay, good luck with that, Jimmy. Say, let's do some more tweets from the Picayune Sentinel. Whenever I tell my dog she's a good girl, I add, but you could be great, because I don't want her to get complacent.
Okay, Boomer.
It really annoys me when someone asks me a question they already know the answer to. Does it annoy you, too?
I'll knock your brains out of your head, Annie.
My wife is furious that our neighbor sunbathes naked in her backyard. Personally, I'm on the fence.
Okay, Boomer.
If you were in a hypothetical situation, what would you do?
Are you trying to give me the double talk?
Conspiracy theorists all seem so unbelievably dumb that I suspect they've been planted by a shadowy and nefarious underground organization to distract us from what's really going on.
Okay, Boomer.
If you want to get my attention, start out by saying, not to sound creepy,
Celebrating our country's independence from a monarchy, given this state of things, feels wrong. It's like getting a Facebook birthday notification for a friend who's dead. Eugh.
Okay, Boomer.
guys, I'm starting to think all lives do not actually matter to them.
What kind of nonsense is this?
You could tell Monopoly is an old game because there's a luxury tax, and rich people go to jail.
I'm a victim of circumstance.
I have this firm belief that if America hasn't broken your heart, you don't love her enough.
Okay, Boomer.
Here's another poem by Joseph Fasano, quickly becoming one of my favorites. I need to learn more about him, especially seeing as how this is the third time he's appeared in this potpourri. He has a poem entitled Note Left by Humanity in the Ruins. I picture it as somebody finding this scrap of paper during a dystopia type novel after we'd been going through a horrible Holocaust of sorts, and they find this note that maybe gives them some kind of hope. Anyhow, here's a note left by humanity in the ruins. Sometimes we gave water to our neighbors. Sometimes we didn't hunt each other. Sometimes our fathers weren't broken and told to kiss their homes that would be stolen. Sometimes there was bread and wine on the tables, and sometimes we remembered there was no such thing as someone else's mother. There was no such thing as someone else's child. Sometimes there were hearts that we could hear. Listen. We forgot that we could listen. Sometimes when the fires died, it was dark enough. We walked out, and we looked up, and we saw it. The starlight that had made us. Sometimes no one lay in any rubble with 7 braids in her hair. A braid for every year she'd had. A braid for every year.
Okay, Boomer.
I tried donating blood today. Never again. Too many stupid questions. Whose blood is it? Where did you get it from? Why is it in a bucket?
Okay, Boomer.
I considered including this acknowledgement in the book that I've written, but I don't even know who it is from, but it is amusing. It reads, here's an acknowledgement from an author who has written a book. I blame all of you. Writing this book has been an exercise in sustained suffering. The casual reader may perhaps exempt herself from excessive guilt, but for those of you who have played the larger role in prolonging my agonies with your encouragement and support, well, you know who you are, and you owe me.
Okay, Boomer.
Here's a poem by Bob Hickok, his last name is spelled Hicok, entitled The Eulogy I Didn't Give. I've been writing down the whispers of a stopped clock, waiting for the wind to cast a shadow, paying a detective to find the imaginary friend from my childhood, feeling the holes, the gaps, and the cracks of my forgetting, thinking the world is a cup the sun fills every day, even when it's cloudy, then goes away. The chair my father sat in to read the Bible is full of the absence of him doing that. Death is a hat we look in for the head that wore it, a picture we take in the future of the past. If you come by for breakfast, I'll pour you a bowl of thorns, so don't. I need some time alone, like the rest of my life. It's weird to me now that we urge kids to blow birthday candles out when they should burn, given that our bones are like IOUs. Cake sounds good, and after cake, being older and missing cake. If the dead could speak, they'd tell us to start with the dessert menu. The best thing about my mother's apple pie? She was here to make it.
Okay, Boomer.
Oh boy, sounds like we've got some breaking news from the Jimmy Amadoofus newsroom. What's up, Jimmy?
Boomer, yeah, we got some breaking news right here. We got a truck loaded with thousands of copies of Merriam-Webster's Thesaurus. Thesaurus, Boomer, okay? It spilled its cargo, leaving Toronto, heading down the 401. Witnesses, they were stunned, they were startled, aghast, stupefied, confused, shocked, rattled, paralyzed, dazed, bewildered, surprised, dumbfounded, flabbergasted, confounded, astonished, and numbed.
Okay, Boomer.
And now we turn to a little longer piece. I don't know who wrote it. An author was not available to me, allegedly by a veterinarian, hopefully not by AI. Regardless, I liked it, and I think you will too. I've entitled it, Holding On to the Pieces When They Fall Apart. I once stitched up a dog's throat with fishing line in the back of a pickup, while its owner held a flashlight in his mouth and cried like a child. That was in '79, maybe '80, just outside a little town near the Tennessee border. No clinic, no clean table, no anesthetic except moonshine. But the dog lived. That man still sends me a Christmas card every year, even though the dog's long gone. So is his wife. I've been a vet for 40 years. That's 4 decades of blood under my nails and fur on my clothes. Used to be you fixed what you could with what you had, not what you could bill. Now I spend half my days explaining insurance codes and financing plans while someone's beagle bleeds out in the next room. I used to think this job was about saving lives. Now, I know it's about holding on to the pieces when they fall apart. I started in '85, fresh out of the University of Georgia. I still had hair, still had hope. My first clinic was a brick building off a gravel road with a roof that leaked when it rained. The phone was rotary, the fridge rattled, and the heater worked only when it damn well pleased. But folks came, farmers, factory workers, retirees, even the occasional truck driver with a pit bull riding shotgun. They didn't ask for much. A shot here, a stitch there, euthanasia when it was time, and we always knew when it was time. There was no debate, no guilt shaming on social media, and no alternative protocols. Just a quiet understanding between a person and their dog that the suffering had become too much. And they trusted me to carry the weight. Some days I'd drive out in my old Chevy to a barn where a horse lay with a broken leg, or to a porch where an old hound hadn't eaten in 3 days. I'd sit beside the owner, pass them the tissue, and wait. I never rushed it, because back then we held them as they left. Now people sign papers and ask if they could just pick up the ashes next week. I remember the first time I had to put down a dog, a German shepherd named Rex. He'd been hit by a combine. A farmer, Walter Jennings, was a World War II vet, tough as barbed wire and twice as sharp. But when I told him Rex was beyond saving, his knees buckled, right there in my exam room. He didn't say a word, just nodded, and I'll never forget this. He kissed Rex's snout and whispered, "You done good, boy." And he turned to me and said, "Do it quick. Don't make him wait." I did. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on my front porch with a cigarette and stared at the stars until the sunrise. That's when I realized this job wasn't just about animals. It was about people, about the love they poured into something that would never live as long as they did. Well, now it's 2025. My hair's white, what's left of it. My hands don't always cooperate. There's a tremor that wasn't there last spring. The clinic is still there. But now it's got sleek white walls, subscription software, and some 28-year-old marketing guy telling me to film TikToks with my patients. I told him I'd rather neuter myself. We used to use instinct. Now it's all algorithms and liability forms. A woman came in last week with a bulldog and respiratory failure. I said we'd need to intubate and keep him overnight. She pulled out her phone and asked if she could get a second opinion from an influencer she follows online. I just nodded. What else can you do? Sometimes I think about retiring. Hell, I almost did during COVID. That was a nightmare. Parking lot pickups, barking from behind closed doors, masks hiding the tears, saying goodbye through car windows. No one got to hold them as they left. That broke something in me. But then I see a kid come in with a box full of kittens he found in his grandpa's barn, and his eyes light up when I let him feed one. Or I patch up a golden retriever who got too close to a barbed fence, and the owner brings me a pecan pie the next day. Or an old man calls me just to say thank you, not for the treatment, but because I sat with him after his dog died. Didn't say a damn thing. Just let the silence do the healing. That's why I stay. Because despite all the changes, the apps, the forms, the lawsuits, the Google diagnosing clients, one thing hasn't changed. People still love their animals like family. And when that love is deep enough, it comes out in quiet ways. A trembling hand on a fur-covered flank, a whispered goodbye, a wallet emptied without question, a grown man breaking down in my office because his dog won't live to see the fall. No matter the year, the tech, the trends, that never changes. A few months ago, a man walked in carrying a shoebox, said he found a kitten near the railroad tracks. Mangled leg, fleas, ribs like piano keys. He looked like hell himself. Told me he'd just gotten out of prison. Didn't have a dime, but could I do anything? I looked in that box. That kitten opened its eyes and meowed like it knew me. I nodded and said, leave him here. Come back Friday. We splintered the leg, fed him warm milk every 2 hours, named him Boomer. When that man showed up Friday with a half-eaten apple pie and tears in his eyes, said no one ever gave him something back without asking what he had first. I told him animals don't care what you did, just how you hold them now. 40 years. Thousands of lives. Some saved, some not, but all of them mattered. I keep a drawer in my desk, locked. No one touches it. Inside are old photos, thank you notes, collars, name tags, a milk bone from a border collie named Scout who saved a boy from drowning, a clay paw print from a cat that used to sleep on a gas station counter, crayon drawn from a girl who said I was her hero because I helped her hamster breathe again. I take it out sometimes, late at night when the clinic's dark and my hands are still. I remember what it was like before all the screens, before the apps, before the clickbait cures and the credit checks. Back when being a vet meant driving through mud at midnight because a cow was calving wrong, and you were the only one they trusted. Back when we stitched with fishing line and hope. Back when we held them as they left. And we held their people too. If there's one thing I've learned in this life, it's this. You don't get to save them all. But you damn sure better try. And when it's time to say goodbye, you stay. You don't flinch. You don't rush. You kneel down, look them in the eyes, and you stay until their last breath leaves the room. That's the part no one trains you for. Not in vet school, not in textbooks. That's the part that makes you human. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, Boomer.
More tweets, more tweets, more tweets.
The towels in my hotel were so thick and fluffy, I could hardly close my suitcase.
Now listen, Grapehead. I'll explain it so even you can understand it.
The gall of Alvin to name his band Alvin and the Chipmunks. As if he's not a frickin' chipmunk, too.
Okay, Boomer.
When I'm using the bathroom at friends' houses, I usually like to check their medicine cabinets, but just to make sure I don't buy them any medicines or creams they already have when their birthday rolls around.
Okay, Boomer.
I respect your beliefs enough to almost always hide my contempt for them.
Oh, a wise guy, eh?
The universe is beautiful and vast beyond comprehension, and yet we have pizza, its finest work, right here on Earth.
The me who writes my weekend to-do list and the me who wakes up on Saturday morning are two very different people.
Okay, Boomer.
St. Peter, why should I let you into heaven? Me? Once a coworker said supposedly 7 times in a meeting, and I just let her. St. Peter, get in here.
Okay, Boomer.
Mansplaining isn't a word. It's called explaining.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Here's something entitled The Missing Signs, and I'm sorry I do not have an author. This morning on my way to work, I followed a car with a sign in the back window that said, "Learning stick, sorry for any delay." Knowing that, I stayed patient through the slow shifts and jerky starts, and honestly, they were doing pretty well for someone still learning. But then I caught myself wondering, would I have been just as patient if I hadn't seen the sign? Probably not. And that thought hit me hard, because the truth is, most people don't wear signs that explain what they're going through. You won't see going through a divorce, lost a child, feeling depressed, just diagnosed with cancer. If we could see people's struggles written out, we'd treat each other much more gently. But we shouldn't need a sign to show kindness. Everyone you meet is carrying something you can't see. So let's choose patience. Let's choose grace. Let's choose love, even when there's no sign telling us to.
Okay, Boomer.
So I'm at Walmart buying a bag of Purina dog food for my dog. While in the checkout line, a woman behind me asked if I had a dog. Now, why else would I be buying dog food, right? So on impulse, I told her that, no, I don't have a dog. I was starting the Purina diet again, and that I probably shouldn't because I ended up in the hospital last time, but I've lost 50 pounds before I awakened in intensive care with tubes coming out of most of my orifices and IVs in both arms. Yep. I told her that it was essentially a perfect diet, and all you got to do is load your pockets with Purina nuggets and simply eat 1 or 2 every time you feel hungry. The food's nutritionally complete, so it works well, and I was going to try it again. I have to mention here that practically everyone in line was now enthralled with my story. Oh, horrified, she asked if I ended up in intensive care because of the dog food poisoning me. I told her no. I stepped off a curb to sniff a poodle's butt, and a car hit me. I thought the guy behind there was going to have a heart attack. He was laughing so hard.
Okay, Boomer.
Well, let's hope we have no heart attacks from our listeners. In fact, we want to wish them well here and wish them happy holidays, season's greetings, and to not forget to check out that new book, Trying for Home. Take care, folks. We'll see you next year.
Shut up! And kids, don't forget to be checking in with AroundPtown.com. It's got all the news that you can use. Stay hip, stay classy with AroundPtown.com. And for you fellas that want that hip and classy look, well, then you're going to want to get your butt to Ben's Barbershop chair. That's right, Ben's Barbershop. Look him up on Facebook.com. He's in Morrison. You make an appointment, you're going to love it. If you enjoyed listening to Boomer here, he'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to his podcast so you'd get notifications of when the next episode's coming up. Maybe leave a rating on a review. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe. That helps the podcast grow, and that makes the little fella feel so much better. And if you had any feedback for him, go ahead and contact him at ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Again, that's ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.